And the Colts have won the coin toss, so we'll see Peyton Manning right out of the gate here tonight in Tennessee. Justin Tryon back deep for the Colts. They have the worst starting position in the NFL, their own 22-yard line off kicks. Rob Baronis will get this game started in what is a huge game in the AFC South as both of these teams try to keep their playoff hopes alive. The longest tenured coach in the National Football League, Jeff Fisher, in his 17th season, 141 career wins. Saw his team get off to a great start. They've had quarterback problems. Not the case in Indianapolis with Peyton Manning and Jim Caldwell. Caldwell in his second year as head coach, a record of 20-8. And week 14, off the foot of Rob Baronis, is underway. Trying on the return, tripped up at the 17-yard line. Let's take a look at the offense of the Indianapolis Colts, led by their quarterback Peyton Manning. The offensive line is anchored by their four-time Pro Bowl center Jeff Saturday. With injuries at the running back position, Joseph Adai inactive, so Donald Brown will get the start. Reggie Wayne has 90 catches on the season. Jacob Tamme has done a nice job filling in for Dallas Clark with 42 catches. Peyton Manning, the first quarterback since 1968 to throw 4 interceptions, return for touchdowns in a 2-game span. The last to do it, Joe Namath. Manning on first down. Donald Brown shoved out by Finnegan at the 20-yard line as we take a look at the defense of the Tennessee Titans. Jason Babin with 9 tackles on the season. Their linebacking core led in the middle by Stephen Tulloch. Tulloch leads the team with 136 tackles on the season. Verner, the rookie, starting at corner with Cortland Finnegan, the instigator for the Tennessee Titans. 2nd and 6 for Manning from his own 21. Now we get a whistle and a flag. Our referee tonight, John Parry.
Number 71, offense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Ryan Dean called for the penalty, 10th year pro out of Northern Illinois.
Did you see the conversation between Peyton Manning and Jeff Saturday? That was on Jeff not snapping the ball. Peyton was ready for it, and Dean moved anticipating.
Something Jeff Saturday told us yesterday. A lot of it's going on Peyton, but there's 10 other guys out there that have got to pick up their level of play.
And one of them outside, Reggie Wayne, had 200 yards a week ago.
2nd and 11 for Manning. Manning to Wayne at the 20-yard line, but he doesn't even get back the penalty yardage. It's a gain of 4.
They're matching Cortland Finnegan with Reggie Wayne. They came out the first 2 plays. Finnegan's trailing him.
Fans here at LP Field in full throat tonight. 3rd and 7 for the Colts. Manning with time. Manning has a first down to his tight end, Jacob Tamme, his 43rd catch of the season, gain of 11.
You said it right there.
Jacob Tamme basically has become, once again, his security blanket. We know what Dallas Clark meant to him. Does a real nice job of pivoting away from Tulloch and winding up with the first down.
If Tennessee doesn't get pressure on Peyton Manning, this is going to look like Brady on Monday night.
Wayne in motion. Donald Brown on the run. Brown out to the 36-yard line. Stephen Tulloch on the tackle. You know, the Colts have always been known as a passing team, guys, but as Peyton Manning said, we've always been able to run the ball effectively enough to make us 3-dimensional. And by his own admission, we've become a 1-dimensional team, and it's hard to be consistent that way.
But make no mistake about it, the Indianapolis Colts are a passing team. They have as long as 8 teams under center.
Brown again picks up about 2. And that was one of the things that Peyton told us too, Joe, is that we have to stay committed to the running game, at least to set up some other things.
Well, they really do. I don't care how great you are. If you decide that you're going to drop back all the time, defenses will get a read on you and start to close on your receivers. Now they put themselves in a very manageable third down, and this is where Joseph Adai was so important to Peyton Manning.
The Colts' whole package is based on execution, and they do it great.
Wayne in motion, top of the screen. Manning under pressure, and he gets it off and gets the first down to Blair White. Manning avoided the sack. White gets the first down.
You know, defensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans, Chuck Cecil, he says, Manning, he'll figure you out. He said they're very elementary, but they execute better than anyone. And this is a prime example.
Chuck Cecil, the defensive coordinator of the Tennessee Titans, knows it will not be easy tonight against Manning and the Colts. Manning checks down to Brown across midfield. He's got another first down to the 43-yard line. Gain of 13. Well, you take a look at the Colts. They started off at 5-2, 1-4 since, 3 consecutive losses for the first time since 2002. In the last 3 games, Peyton Manning, 11 interceptions, 4 returned for touchdowns, 2 in each of the last 2 weeks. And he's put it all on himself. He said, look, I'm not going to blame anybody. I've got to do a better job protecting the ball. Brown under pressure. Brown is down. Marcus Douglas on the tackle. Babin forced the pressure. It's a loss of 4.
They have to create some kind of negative plays. He's going to come around and force this thing. That's Babin who made the play, and Douglas made the tackle. But it's incumbent upon this Tennessee Titan defensive line to get pressure. If they do not get pressure, Manning will chew them up.
2nd and 14. Screen for Brown, and he dropped it. It's kind of one of the things Peyton was talking about yesterday, Joe. Because, you know, we're not a really good screen team, which would help negate some of that pass rush.
Well, they aren't a very good screen team by design. They like to go to the wide receivers, work the middle of the football field. As I said on the earlier conversion of third down, they were in a manageable number. Now all of a sudden, the balance shifts to Tennessee because you can play that cover 2 shell, which gave them a problem last week with the Dallas Cowboys, and go man-to-man underneath. Does Peyton have enough time to be able to get a receiver down the field for 15 yards?
Let's see if they bring more than 4, Joe. They do.
Manning with time, though. Manning can't find Brown. Will Witherspoon on the coverage, and the drive stalls.
Well, they bring off the edge, they bring an extra blitzer. And they try to get pressure. Manning is able to hold it off. The offensive line rather hold it off. Manning, though, not accurate, forces the 4th.
Mark Mariani is a rookie out of Montana, only NFL player with a touchdown and a kickoff and punt return. His punt return for a score went for 87 yards. McAfee to punt. Good high climbing punt. Mariani a fair catch at the 6-yard line. So the Tennessee defense does their job early. They keep the Colts off the board. We'll take a look at the Titans offense when we return.
Thursday Night Football is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. And by Sears. Be the Santa you want to be. Find your Santa at sears.com/Santa.
First offensive possession for Tennessee, and their offense has been short of offensive as far as scoring. 11 straight quarters without a touchdown. 13 straight quarters without an offensive touchdown. Kerry Collins, the starting quarterback. Chris Johnson, the first carry. Johnson picks up a couple. There's a flag on the play on the first offensive snap.
Holding, number 64, offense, half the distance, replay, first down.
Left guard Leroy Harris as we take a look at the starting offense for the Tennessee Titans. And up front, Jake Scott, the former Indianapolis Colt, is the right guard for the Houston Texans. At running back, Chris Johnson, 1,026 yards rushing and 9 touchdowns on the season. Nate Washington leads them in receptions with 33. Randy Moss has been quiet since coming to Tennessee. Two tight end set. Johnson ran into his own man Stevens and then grabbed around the head by Aaron Francisco and dropped after a gain of 5.
One of the things you see from Indianapolis is the flow of their linebackers. They're basically an 8-man front. What they're going to do is everybody has a responsibility. If Chris Johnson has the vision, he can start to break those things back against the grain, get the linebackers running the other way. If he gets out the back door, he's got a lot of green to take off up.
Johnson ran for over 2,000 yards last season. Second and 9. Johnson out to the 12-yard line. Tackled by Dan Muir as we take a look at the defense for the Indianapolis Colts. And up front, when you think of the Colts and their defense, you think of their defensive ends. Robert Mathis with 8.5 sacks on the season. Dwight Freeney has 8. Linebacking core, they have the rookie Pat Anger, Gary Brackett back after that turf toe. And in the secondary, they are banged up. Justin Tryon in for Kelvin Hayden. Jacob Lacey starting for the injured Gerard Powers. Antoine Bethea stabilizing things deep. 3rd and 5 for Collins. Collins rips it, intended for Britt, incomplete.
They wanted to get to 3rd and 5 or less. That is what they considered manageable. And they want to be able to control the clock, have the time of possession, which means they want to run the football. So 1st and 2nd down, they were fine. 3rd down, they couldn't get it done.
Kerry Collins threw a high, hard one right there that basically anybody would have needed a mitt to get. That was a high, hard one right there. Whoa.
Brett Kern, the punt for Tennessee. Averages 43.3 a punt. Toppling kick, not deep. White calls for a fair catch, and then he bats it out of bounds at the 45-yard line. Well, Peyton Manning gets his second crack at the Tennessee Titans defense, trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. But before we take that break, late flag comes in on the play, and it's a batted ball, I believe, against Blair White. We'll check with John Parry.
Blair White thought he was going to do himself a favor by pushing the ball backwards and saving a few yards.
Well, you have to understand, you can't bat a ball. I mean, that's rules. That's the explanation.
During the kick, illegal bat, number 15 of the return team. The ball was batted forward, which by rule is a foul. Post-possession foul, 10-yard penalty. Timeout.
See, Blair White went high and pushed it forward. That's an infraction against the Colts. Temperatures in the 30s here in Nashville. No score here in the first quarter. Second offensive possession coming up for the Indianapolis Colts. If they win out, they win the AFC South. They'll hold tiebreakers. Peyton Manning said, look, it's right at our grasp. We don't have to worry about scoreboard watching. Just go get it done. After the penalty from the 32, Donald Brown engulfed and fights just to get back to the line of scrimmage. Jacob Ford with a nice play on defense for Tennessee.
Bob, in truth, this is an offensive line that is not built to run the football. What they're built to do is pass block, and then once you get control of the game a little bit, then they'll be able to hand the ball off and gain some yards when you become conscious of defending the pass.
2nd and 10. Manning to Brown. Takes it out to the 40-yard line. Gerald McGrath on the tackle after a gain of 7. But even though it's built to pass block, all offensive linemen love to run block.
They do, but these guys haven't done it in so long. I mean, when they went to the Super Bowl and won it a few years ago, they were last in rushing in the National Football League. I think offensive linemen would like to do it, but when you have Peyton as the quarterback, it's not real likely.
Well, this defense is daring them to run. They're giving them a 2-deep look the whole time. No 8-man front. Now they drop the safety down.
On a 3rd and 2, Manning with a first down to Blair White out to midfield. Well, the Indianapolis Colts have dropped 3 in a row, find themselves in the unenviable position at 6-6. Bob Sanders placed on injured reserve this week. Melvin Bullitt, Dallas Clark out for the year. Adai, Colley, Brackett, Garcon have missed time. And it really has affected sort of the balance of this football team. Although fans in Green Bay would disagree. They say, hey, we've had a lot of injuries and we're winning.
They've lost some key people. Jermichael Finley up there was huge in the early game.
Manning with time. Garcon the first down to the 30-yard line. Pickup of 20 on the play.
One of the things that the Tennessee Titans have decided to do is they are not going to do a whole lot on defense. They're going to just play it straight out. Well, you can't face Peyton Manning and just line up and give him solid looks. The play action fake that time pulled the linebackers up, and you saw where Reggie Wayne had Garcon had the opportunity to be able to get the 15-yard in.
From the Tennessee 30, 1st and 10 Colts. Pass batted away by Jason Jones, the third-year pro out of Eastern Michigan.
You know, when Jones is on, he's a pretty darn good player. Not a real big guy. He's only about 270, 75. He's a tall guy. He has a tendency to get high. If he doesn't get high, if he comes off the ball low, he's explosive. You can see right there. Now, he just gapped it right there. He got skinny, got up inside. When he comes off the ball hard, he's pretty good.
On a 2nd and 10. Manning, middle of the field. What a catch made at the 10-yard line by Blair White as Manning took a shot.
This is just trust. You wonder, Peyton Manning, okay, he struggled a little bit. Is he going to make the throws? Is he going to throw the ball in the middle of the football field? Absolutely. Total, complete trust that your wide receiver is going to go up.
That's a heck of a route that he ran. Got inside of Vern to the middle of the field, and the receiver's trusting that he's going to get him the ball.
Michael Griffin was right behind him, ready to pick it off. It went too high.
Javaris James in a tailback. Now we get a whistle and false start.
Number 47, offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Gian Robinson, the second tight end.
It's interesting watching Peyton Manning with all these young guys. In some ways, we were talking to him last night, he likes the challenge of it, and he'd like to have more wins, but he also knows that the more they play, the more experience they get, and that helps him with depth down the road.
James, a yard, and that's it. Jason Jones on the tackle. Javaris James, the brother of former Indianapolis Colt, Edgerrin James.
You saw that last graphic. They've scored 9 times when they've gotten down into the red zone. They're a tough team to be able to stop and keep out of the end zone.
Titans defense never finished in the top 5 in the NFL in red zone defense. They're first right now for Jeff Fisher. It's based on touchdown percentage in the red zone. 2nd and goal. Wayne in traffic to the 9. Hit by Werner.
That's really gutsy of Reggie Wayne. I mean, there's a rare occasion where Reggie Wayne actually lines up on the right side of the formation. He basically lives on the other side. Here he runs a little drag off inside, little angle in, get down low because you know trouble's coming.
What a shot by Tony Brown to the head of Wayne. James to the right of Manning. Manning to the end zone. Feet tangled, flag. As Garcon was working on Michael Griffin.
Michael Griffin had no chance. I mean, the best thing you can hope for is to maybe stop him at the 1, but he grabs him as he breaks away.
Which is a shame because this ball wasn't going to be catchable.
Now Pierre Garcon goes in. Now you'll see him. You see him grab the back of him, pulls him down.
I don't know about
Hard
that.
to
There are
miss.
2 fouls on this play, both by the defense. Offside, number 93 lined up in the neutral zone at the snap. That penalty has been declined. Pass interference, defense. Number 33, hook and turn, receiver. The ball will be spotted at the 1-yard line. 1st and goal, Indianapolis.
They're going to call that top hand, which to me, that's an iffy call, Joe.
He grabbed him. Matthew?
We have different definitions of grabbing.
He grabbed him.
Manning sends defensive lineman Eric Foster in a slot left. He'll throw. Can't find James. James was actually the first cousin of Edgerrin James. I'd misspoken before.
Yes, you did. I know you mentioned that. I love the creativity down there. I really do. We played the Miami Dolphins in the Super Bowl, and if you want to match up man-to-man, and you basically go to an explode package, and you start putting people in different places, you get the mismatches you want. That was just an errant throw. It wasn't that James wasn't open.
I like the fact that they moved Peyton. I think that's smart football. He can do everything. That's one of them.
A give for James. Stood up at the 1 and turned back. Tim Shaw, one of the backup linebackers, got a nose in there to turn him back at the 1.
Tulloch 55 right in the middle of that thing. James coming right at you. There's Tim Shaw, linebacker out of Penn State, third-year player. Nice read, attacks it, and then here come the troops.
Third and goal at the 1. James on the carry. James has a touchdown for Indianapolis.
Now that was a nice job by the right side of the Indianapolis offensive line. Mike Pollock and Ryan Deem over there, just creating enough of a push to be able to get James in behind. Nice little push inside. Get the double team, turn out. You get the tackle guard coming around, and he winds up in the end zone.
Nicely done by Jeff Saturday also, the old wrestler.
You loved that last night when we were talking to him, didn't you?
Extra point by Vinatieri is good. And with 2:04 to go in quarter number 1, Javaris James with his 6th rushing touchdown. The Colts in front. Tonight's aerial coverage is being presented by Southwest Airlines. LP Field in Nashville, Tennessee. The Colts with their league-leading 31st touchdown drive of 10 plays or more. 11 plays, 68 yards. Javaris James with a 1-yard touchdown run. Mark Mariani back deep. He's returned 1 for a touchdown this season. Takes the short kick at the 10 on the run. Stood up at the 25, knocked down at the 26-yard line. Peyton Manning's run 21 offensive plays. Titans got to get their offense going, down 7.
Thursday Night Football is brought to you by Sprint, the Now Network. And by the Lexus December to Remember sales event. Now for a limited time at your Lexus dealer.
This Sunday NFL Game Day Final brings you highlights and analysis from all the games shaping the postseason. For the last word on all the day's games, watch NFL Game Day Final Sunday at 11:30 Eastern only on NFL Network. Where your weekend begins here. Kerry Collins and the Titans, second offensive possession. Down 7-0. Collins under pressure has to throw it away as Robert Mathis was in pursuit.
One of the other things about the Indianapolis Colts defensively is we talk about Robert Mathis and Dwight Freeney, their ability to bring pressure on quarterbacks, but they're also very disciplined. That time you saw Robert Mathis not run off and go chase Chris Johnson, but stay at home and make a play on Kerry Collins.
That goes back to John Tierling, their defensive line coach. He wants them up the field, deep as the deepest.
On a 2nd and 10, Collins to throw again. Kenny Britt has a first down to the 40-yard line.
And we talked about Kenny Britt at the top of the show. This offense has missed Kenny Britt. The question then is why? Because he is a young stallion. This is a big, powerful kid who can get fast in his first 3 steps, Joe, and he's a big play waiting to happen.
And you see with Kenny Britt, the quarterback rating and everything else, he has been a key component. He's missed the last 4 games due to an injury. Back, the question is, how many snaps does he have in him tonight as far as conditioning? Chris Johnson slips out to about the 47-yard line, gain of 6.
The other thing, too, is we focus on Kenny Britt and the touchdown passes that he has, Matt, but also his presence on the field as he comes back into the game also makes the Colts conscious of, well, we can't go one-on-one out there. We can't bring a safety down, which should help the running game of the Tennessee Titans.
Well, remember what their defensive coordinator, Larry Coyer, said about his secondary. He said they may be ugly, but they're ours.
On 2nd and 4, Johnson again. Johnson uses that great patience, and he's got a first down after a pickup of 5. Muir and Foster on the tackle.
You know, Bob, you said it perfectly. And this really is at times what he has been missing. It's the patience. He sees it, he waits for everything to go this way, and then boom, he cuts back. Sometimes this year, the difference in him has been that he's rushed himself and he's tried to bounce things too fast.
Well, they need to stabilize this time of possession, which has been so lopsided in Indianapolis' favor in the first quarter. Johnson goes out on this 1st and 10. Final seconds of the first. Collins rips one to Britt to the 39-yard line, and it'll be a pickup of 9. So the Indianapolis Colts with a 7-0 lead after 1, but the Titans are driving. Second quarter coming up. Back in Tennessee, Titan fans are hoping Santa Claus can bring a win and snap a 5-game losing streak. She took Joe Theismann's hat. That's why Joe called in the booth.
I wondered where it went.
Tennessee trying to end a 5-game losing streak. Time of possession lopsided in Indianapolis' favor in the first quarter. It's been a problem for Tennessee all season. Second lowest of any team since 1978. Wide receiver screen. Britt runs out of 1 tackle, but he can't run out of 2 or 3. Then he lost the football, and it's Indianapolis ball. Freeney came in and chopped it out.
Well, you talk about hustle. I mean, Freeney gets all the way over there to make the play. They try and run the quick screen. Kenny Britt's fighting hard. Ball comes out. It's on the ground. It's picked up, recovered, and Indianapolis winds up with the ball.
Timeout on the field.
All Dwight Freeney did was tomahawk chop like a quarterback sack.
Freeney with the forced fumble. Colts back on offense. Dwight Freeney forces his 5th fumble of the season, Matt.
Well, it's Freeney on the front end, but then watch them stream to the football. That's just great hustle. All of you players out there, remember, it takes no talent to hustle.
Tawan Hagler on the recovery. In the Colts' 3 losses over the last 3 weeks, they didn't force a turnover. Manning gets sacked back at the 34-yard line by Jason Babin. Werner also in there.
But Peyton Manning had absolutely nowhere to go. He wanted to pump to the left and go up top to the right. They were going to take a shot. But here comes the pressure right up inside. I mean, just ran right over Donald Brown. The move hard inside. That's like just throwing somebody out of your way. Jason Babin looked like he was on a mission.
Babin and Werner will probably share the sack. Loss of 7. Blair White. Just 2. Stephen Tulloch on the tackle. You know, so here we have Indianapolis, guys, and they've run it a little bit for Peyton Manning. They didn't force a turnover in each of the last 3 weeks. They get the turnover. Making the right plays right now. 3rd and 14. Manning for Reggie Wayne, and he's got a step. And he's down at the 15-yard line.
Got on top of Cortland Finnegan. Finnegan shadowing him again.
Never gets a hand on him. Just tries to shield him with his arm. Loses his balance. And Peyton Manning was going to him all the way.
Gain of 50 for Reggie Wayne. His longest catch of the season.
Yeah, and it doesn't happen if Peyton Manning doesn't manage the pocket properly.
To the Colts, off the turnover, strike quickly. Brown inside the 10. Ford wrapped him up and dropped him after a gain of 3.
Now this is one of the areas where the Indianapolis Colts can commit to the run, because if you're not a decent running team in the red zone, everybody just drops back. But here now Peyton Manning can put him on a string. Now his play action faking can work, and he gets the ball out of his hands so quickly, the windows are there even though they're small.
2nd and 7 from the 10. Brown again to the 5-yard line. Finnegan on the tackle. You know, this is a proud Indianapolis team, a team that has not missed the playoffs since 2001. Peyton Manning said we had a players meeting last week with veteran players. I asked him, how many guys here have never made the playoffs? Only about 4 guys raised their hands. I mean, their culture is about winning. 7 straight years of 12 wins or more. They know if they win out, they're in. Brown again. 1st down to the 1.
To go along with that, Bob, is talking to Jeff Saturday, their center also, as we sat with him last night. He said, listen, if we can get into the playoffs, overcoming what we've done, because this is a different situation for them. They're usually sitting people down now. If we can get into the playoffs, we're going to be a very dangerous football team.
Drive coming up. Manning for White, overthrown.
What they're doing on the offensive left side, they are getting a big split, and the defensive end is lining up wide, which is like it's called a 9 technique, and they're lining him wide, and it forces the tackle to take an extra wider split, and then right before the snap, that defensive end is jumping down inside. Babin's done it twice now, got pressure this last time as well.
Brown, nowhere to run, and he's going to lose a couple. Chris Hope on the tackle. It's a loss of 2.
That's like Chris Hope and company.
Yeah, because there's a calculated risk right there by Chuck Cecil, their defensive coordinator. He gambled and said that they're going to run the football. You see Hope, he starts dropping down right away. So he tracks that run, kind of a run blitz look.
Colts have kept them relatively manageable to 3rd down attempts. Third and goal. Manning under pressure, intended for Wayne, incomplete, and a flag at the 1-yard line.
Prior to the pass, holding. Defense, number 24. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic 1st down.
Chris Hope called for the penalty.
2nd red zone possession. 2nd penalty inside the red zone.
It's so tough down there because you feel like you can jam a guy and lock him up with 5 yards to go. I mean, you got that little 5-yard cushion.
Exactly.
Well, if you're hanging on too much before the ball, when the ball gets in the air, flag comes out.
But you can't give Peyton Manning extra chances inside the 10.
They had good pressure on that series. Watch Chris Hope, number 24. Oh, see, that looks like they're going to call that a. It's Chris Hope, 24, right in the middle there.
You can't impede the receiver from going where he wants to go.
1st and goal. Donald Brown shut down at the 1-yard line. Michael Griffin, the 4th-year safety out of Texas, former 1st-round pick, came in and cut him down.
You know, Joe, I hate to do this, but I agree with you on that last
call.
No,
you didn't. Hold on.
I hope we're recording that.
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
I'm sitting down. Hold on.
I'm as shocked as you, Joe.
Knocks me right off my feet there, man. Yeah, you just... Thanks, man.
2nd and goal for Manning and the Colts. Trying to build upon a 7-0 lead. Set up off the turnover. Manning Garcon, touchdown Colts. Just beat Jason McCourty.
That's the value of a 6 foot, 210-pound wide receiver. McCourty just couldn't keep him from getting inside.
Well, Dwight Freeney's never missed the playoffs. He set it up with the forced fumble, and Peyton Manning and the offense did the rest.
You mentioned the body size, Joe. That was just basketball. Get body position inside the corner and know that that quarterback is putting the ball in a small window.
And a 10-play, 59-yard drive. Vinatieri with the extra point. Reggie Wayne got it going with a 50-yard catch. Then after a penalty, it's Manning, Garcon, the Colts in front.
Thursday Night Football is brought to you by Outback Steakhouse. It's always fresh in the Outback. And by Allstate. Dollar for dollar, nobody protects you like Allstate. Are you in good hands?
Bet you didn't know there was a Parthenon in Nashville. Pierre Garcon with the touchdown catch to give the Colts a 14-0 lead. 10 plays, 59 yards on the drive. The big third down penalty on Chris Hope kept the drive alive. Mark Mariani back deep for Tennessee, trying to give him a spark. McAfee with the kickoff, Mariani with a head of steam. And that steam gets engulfed at the 24. Flag comes in from the referee, who's behind the play, so we'll check the flag.
During the return, holding, number 88, return team, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Craig Stevens called for the penalty. Well, Dwight Freeney has a forced fumble. Tennessee, they need a scoring drive. Peyton Manning and the Colts are hot. NFL fans, you got to stay in the game with NFL's new mobile apps. Go to NFL.com mobile or search NFL mobile to learn more. Multitask, you can get fantasy information. You keep track of all your stats, all at the NFL mobile app.
You do that, Bob?
I've got it flying everywhere. You got to know all the stats and everything else that's going on. I'm a big fantasy guy. I know you've got a lot of fantasy, Joe. First and 10 from the 11. Chris Johnson, a hard to Freeney at the bottom of that pile, makes the tackle.
Well, what's become a fantasy for the Tennessee Titans is to be able to put a drive together and keep it going. On the last play was 2nd down and 2, you wind up fumbling the football. And when we talked to Mike Heimerdinger, the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans, you know, he basically talked about the simple fact that no one is making plays for them. And you can see the Colts first downs and the Titans just with 10 offensive plays. They need somebody to step up and make a play.
They have that guy. It's Kenny Britt. And that's the guy who they went to earlier. See if they still go to him.
That's not a bad guy to go to. Chris Johnson. Submarine just short of the 20-yard line.
And you see who got the block for him? Kenny Britt. Now, Britt is a second-year kid out of Rutgers. He's a big, powerful guy. He's kind of reminds me a little bit of Terrell Owens. Has that kind of abilities. He's faster than T.O. And T.O. can still run.
When I talked to Randy Moss about him, I asked Randy, I said, what's the one attribute that you really notice in Kenny Britt? He says he's so big and has so many great physical tools.
And we haven't seen Randy Moss in a game to this point. 3rd and 2 for Collins. Little check down, Ahmad Hall, the fullback. First down, runs over Francisco to pick up a couple extra yards. Well, also joining us here tonight, as she does every week, down on the field is Alex Flanagan.
Hey, Bob. Well, Kenny Britt spent the entire Colts offensive series after he fumbled the ball watching the Colts on the sideline with Chris Johnson and Randy Moss, hoping with each play really that they wouldn't be able to capitalize off of his fumble. When they did, he walked the entire defensive sideline, the bench, looked at all of his defensive players and said, I'm going to put some points on the board for you right now. Let's see if he can do it.
Well, they need to drive Alex desperately, down 14-0 to the Colts. Collins. That one got away from him. Don't know if it was tipped at the line, intended for Nate Washington.
Just talking about this defense of the Indianapolis Colts, and you know everybody talks about the 2 defensive ends and how they rush the passer, and they do that well. And what they do, they know when there's a guy sitting in the middle like Kerry Collins, they know exactly where he's going to be. That makes it just a little bit easier to know what they're going to do with their stunts to get to him.
There's Johnson on a 2nd and 10. Fights for about 2 yards on the play. Well, you know, the Tennessee Titans at one point were being talked about as one of the best teams in the NFL. They started out 5-2. They beat the Eagles and the Cowboys and the Giants. Since then, though, 0-5. 3 different starting quarterbacks. No offensive touchdowns in the last 13 quarters. And after the first quarter here tonight, make it 14 quarters. The controversy with Vince Young being asked to not hang around after he threw his pads in the stands. He and Jeff Fisher got into it. He's never talked to Fisher and apologized to him. He tried to text an apology to him. It's been a bad 5 weeks for Tennessee. Collins under pressure. And Britt can't make the catch. Justin Tryon all over him. Fans here in Tennessee want a flag.
Oh, they're irate. They think that Justin Tryon interfered with Kenny Britt. Now, Kenny's trying to make a play on the ball. You'll see it on the left part of your screen. Kerry Collins under pressure, just hangs it up. It's one-on-one. Why not? Tough to tell at that angle.
How about that?
But it sure looks like he's being tackled before the ball gets there.
I think that angle shows it pretty clearly.
I do too.
Tryon was around his waist before his hand touched the ball.
Nice pressure by Freeney.
Turn to punt. White back deep. White, a fair catch at about the 30-yard line. 40-yard punt. Well, Chuck Cecil trying to get his defense fired up. Peyton Manning's engineered a couple of scoring drives. Colts by 14.
Manning talked about becoming a one-dimensional team and they need to be more three-dimensional. Here's the play-action fake, which has been set up by them running the football 12 times. The linebackers get sucked up to the line of scrimmage, gives you a nice cushion behind the backers, and the corner and the safeties, big completion to Reggie Wayne. Now this offense is starting to become more three-dimensional than what they have been in the past.
4th offensive possession for the Colts. The first 3 drives have been at least 10 plays. James on the carry. Fights out of a tackle and takes it out to the 33-yard line. Gain of 4.
Now, if you look at the rushing numbers, they're not very good.
No.
But that doesn't matter. It's the threat of the run. And the fact that they are closing so fast on the run tells you that the linebackers are biting hard, which that's what you showed.
Injured Tennessee Titan on the field, Javon Hay. 6th-year defensive lineman out of Vanderbilt, shaken up. Well, Peyton Manning and the Colts have their offense going. Pierre Garçon has a touchdown. Back in Tennessee, the Colts with the football up 14-0. Javon Hay being helped off the field. Well, Peyton Manning with that touchdown pass to Pierre Garçon. Most consecutive seasons with 25 or more touchdown passes. 13 for Manning, but look at those names. Favre with Green Bay only did it 5 straight years. Marino with the Dolphins only did it 5 straight years. And, of course, Drew Brees.
Well, the thing that amazes me is Brett Favre. I mean, he's thrown 500 touchdown passes, and you look where Peyton is with the 25 number. I mean, it really is unbelievable.
With pressure. Manning had Wayne open. Couldn't connect. Who says Peyton Manning's not fleet of foot?
No, let me tell you something. Peyton Manning can do whatever you ask him to do. I was talking to Tom Moore, longtime coach now. He's the offensive coordinator for years. He stepped back this year. And he said, you know, if we wanted to go to a spread offense and have him run like sprint options and that kind of stuff, he said he can throw on the run as good as anybody he's ever seen.
That time he couldn't connect with Wayne. 3rd and 6. Gets the play off. Manning short. Blair White stopped short of the first down by Stephen Tulloch.
Really well done by Stephen Tulloch. He got a nice drop. He let things develop in front of him. Read the quarterback, and then the nice break on the ball. Watch Tulloch. Right there. See that? That's just an angle route back inside. He's waiting on it. Look at this. That is really well done, and a good tackle as well.
You know, Matt, that's one of the things that Chuck Cecil was talking about is we're not going to do a lot of exotic things. I'm going to have my guys get to where they belong and close on the ball when it's in the air. And it really becomes a question of athletic ability and playing the game versus trying to outsmart someone.
And execution.
And to bring the chains out to take a look at it, Matt, you know, as someone who played the linebacker position as they measured, he's well short. You don't see a lot of linebackers in space like that play it that way nowadays. I know it's a pet peeve of yours.
It drives me crazy, but a lot of times they'll just spot drop. And in this particular instance, he did a nice job of getting back and pattern read. And so by that I mean you're seeing what they're running, understanding exactly what the route is, waiting on it, and then as soon as the break was there, he drove it.
Pat McAfee to punt. Muffed it and then covers it at the 25-yard line after a 39-yard punt. 5:57 to go in the half. Tennessee trying to put an offensive drive together. Stephen Tulloch with a big third down stop. Well, Randy Moss still on the sideline of the Tennessee Titans. We haven't seen him in the ball game to this point. Indianapolis with a 14-0 lead. 5:57 to go in the first half. For more, here's Alex Flanagan.
Watching Randy Moss during this first half, and he kind of puts his jacket on. He'll sit on the sideline on the bench, and then when the Titans offense gets on the field, he'll take the jacket off, act like he's warming up, stretch out his hamstrings. He's ready, waiting to go in. We'll see if he gets in. Jeff Fisher said he would try to use both of these receivers, Kenny Britt and Randy Moss.
The odd thing when we met with the Titans yesterday is Tennessee starts 1st and 10 from their 26. Collins will throw. Collins zips one, and he has a first down to Nate Washington, a gain of 14. The odd thing about, well, take a look at the route, Matt.
Well, it's just nicely done, but he's just going to drive him off. And see the hips? Hips are flipped the other way. That's like stealing right there. You know, the thing that people forget about Randy, or don't know about Randy Moss, is what a great football mind he has. He's a phenomenal worker. He is all about football. You hear about all the other stuff. You don't hear about the good things. He's one of the best teachers. In fact, his coaches were telling me this guy should be a coach. He's off the charts with how much football he knows.
On his third team, though, this season. Collins again. Little check down to Hall in space. Francisco wrestles him down at the 46 after a gain of 6. Oh, the odd thing, though, was, guys, when we visited with Tennessee yesterday, we asked about Randy Moss. Terry Collins said, I've never seen him block better, as Moss finally comes in the ball game. When you think of Randy Moss, it's not the first thing that jumps to your mind. Randy Moss is blocking really well.
And Kerry was with him in Oakland, and he was hurt out there, didn't really get into it as much, but he's at a stage now where he wants to do whatever he can.
See his numbers since joining Tennessee. Chris Johnson has a first down. Tryon got a hit, Lacey got a hit on him, but not after he picked up 5 and a first down.
Now there was a case where Randy Moss blocked the safety.
Nice, too.
He blocked the support, got it his way. You don't want to get confused with blocking by knocking people off their feet. Get in his way. Don't allow him to come up on the runner. You know, I mean, he kept him out of the play. I mean, that's what you want to do.
And so people are at home saying, why didn't he block the guy who tackled him? Because that's a corner. And so you said it right, Joe. You want to take the force away. He went and got the safety, and corners generally are not as good attackers.
1st and 10, Chris Johnson moves the pile inside the 45 and picks up a hard 6 on the play. You know, Jeff Fisher was telling us about Randy Moss, too. He sat down with him when he brought him in, explained the situation, said, hey, look, this is all about CJ. Tom Brady's not here. Got to understand that we are a running football team, and we're going to need you to do other things. And he said, you know, Randy's bought in 100%. Moss's longest catch with Tennessee is 26 yards. Johnson again. Nice tackle and hit on Johnson by Tryon, who came in from the corner spot. No gain on the play.
You know, you put the tape on, this Tryon, you know, there's times he's going to go through a rough time. There'll be patches that he's not going to look that good, but this kid, great effort, not afraid to tackle, Joe. That's the first thing that you see on tape. And he's you know, he's learning how to play in this league. That's not an easy spot out there in an island.
Moss out of the game. 3rd and 4. Javon Ringer in a tailback. Collins dropped at the 30-yard line by Nate Washington.
Mike Heimerdinger, I'll go back to the conversation we had with him on Tuesday. This is what's been killing the Tennessee Titans. Nobody makes a play. There was a great opportunity to keep a drive alive. Coming down towards the end of the half, you keep the ball out of the hands of Peyton Manning, possibly get yourself in a scoring position, and you wind up with a drop.
You can't drop that ball.
No,
I mean, you are a professional. You can't drop that ball.
Kern into punt. That happened last year when they went 0-6. High snap over his head. Kern doesn't pick it up, and it's recovered by the Colts. Ty Smith, who blocked the punt for a touchdown last week against the Cowboys, makes another play on special teams as Canemato's snap went over the head of Kern.
He couldn't have got it. I mean, Kern went up as high as he possibly could. The thing he has to do now is try and fall on it. Don't pick it up. Don't pick it up. Don't give him any more of an opportunity to put it in the end zone. It's bad enough it's going to be good field position.
Well, you know, Kenny Britt, a turnover as you get a look at the long snapper, Canemato in his 8th year out of Montana State with the missed snap, and now you're giving Peyton Manning with a 14-0 lead, the ball in the red zone, 2:35 to go in the half. Manning intended for Wayne, incomplete. Guys, I mean, Tennessee's offense is not built to score a lot of points and fast. We've chronicled that. They have to hold them to a field goal here if they want to have any chance.
There's very little margin of error for them when it comes to execution. And you've seen a fumble on 2nd down and 2 with Kenny Britt. Now you've seen a drop by Nate Washington that kills drives right around midfield.
Second and 10. Manning for the end zone. Garcon serves up his 2nd touchdown catch of the night. He beat Jason McCourty, the 2nd-year player out of Rutgers.
Yeah, but Jason McCourty was looking for help from Chris Hope.
Yeah, they were in a 2 deep.
They just flat blew this.
Yeah, that's.
They just flat blow the coverage.
First of all, he's got to get a jet. You can't let the guy off without touching him.
And then he sees Tammy come out in his face, and he stops thinking he has help up top, and that's the end result.
McCourty's got to get his hands on him and jam him inside to help the safety.
Because the safety then can't get over fast enough, right? And it tears for the extra point, and he knocks it through. Well, Peyton Manning throwing a couple of touchdown passes tonight to Pierre Garcon. Indianapolis has used enough of a running game to create the play action. Garcon with a couple of touchdown catches here tonight. As you see Peyton talking with special assistant Tom Moore, and well, Peyton Manning looks like he's back on the beam after a rough couple 3 weeks.
Well, what the Colts talked about to a large degree is they've been playing from behind. Played behind in Dallas, played behind in Philadelphia, played behind against Houston. Now they're back to the football that they could play. Now you get to unleash the dogs going after them.
And that's what happens. Now you got points at your back. Now that helps your defense. But I got to tell you, this is more about Tennessee and their lack of execution than it is the Colts and how well they're playing. They're just getting killed with mistakes out here.
All right, we'll take a look at some of Peyton Manning here this evening, and he's been on target, able to use the play action. Blair White made a heck of a catch for him over the middle. Reggie Wayne got free for a 50-yarder, which set up the 2nd touchdown. Pass to Pierre Garcon, and then Garcon with the 3rd touchdown of the night for the Colts, his 2nd, and Indianapolis with a 21-0 lead. Remember, it was Sweeney forcing the fumble on Britt that set up the 2nd touchdown. Mariani with space out to the 30-yard line. And a flag comes in late.
There's a shock.
And we'll check the call with 2:16 to go in the half. They're going to call a face mask.
Didn't look like he got it. Let's see.
On the tackle, personal foul on the kicking team. Grabbing the opening of the helmet on the tackle. 15-yard penalty. First down, Tennessee.
You can't grab the opening of the helmet either. That's the same as a face mask.
The head is taboo.
Brown.
The head is taboo, Bob. Anywhere around the head, you got problems.
So this will give Tennessee their best starting position of the night, and they need to get some points. From the 45, Chris Johnson picks up a couple. That should take us to the 2-minute warning as Robert Mathis made the tackle. Well, mistakes have cost Tennessee tonight. A Kenny Britt fumble, an errant snap. Colts in front, 21-0 with 2 minutes to go in the first half.
Rich Eisen here in Nashville letting you know what's coming up on the Sprint halftime show. We'll break down Peyton Manning's first half, set the playoff picture for the National Football Conference, and then get you set for that big AFC West battle between the Chargers and Chiefs. Join me, Marshall, Steve Mariucci, and the graybeard, Deion Sanders at halftime.
Rich, I love that gray beard on Deion. Of course, we have the Chargers next Thursday night in San Diego. Collins, intended for Brett, incomplete. Well, part of the problem for Tennessee in this 5-game losing streak and tonight miscues. They got a nice drive going. Kenny Britt trying to fight for extra yardage. Dwight Freeney forces the fumble. Indy goes down and scores. Then after a drop third down pass to Nate Washington, the snap goes over Kern's head. You give Peyton Manning the ball at the 19, he's going to make you pay. Things like that just destroy the Tennessee Titans. 34 straight offensive drives without a touchdown. It's the longest in the NFL this season. 14 quarters without a touchdown. Collins, Washington, sliding catch, good to the 30. Gain of 21, and Washington is shaken up.
That's a great catch coming off of a drop ball.
Boy, he goes down to get this one. He goes hard, brings it into him. His hands are underneath, his arms are underneath the ball.
Good control all the way through.
That's a heck of a catch.
He probably just got the wind knocked out of him.
Yeah, he kept that right hand underneath the ball and maintained possession, shaken up on the play as the medical staff tends to him on the far sideline. One of the illustrations of how poor Tennessee has been this year with their passing game. Nate Washington's their leading receiver coming into this game with 33 catches.
Well, with the change of quarterbacks, they lost a bunch. They lost rhythm. They lost their timing in their offense. Now you go back to Kerry Collins, and a healthy Kerry Collins. Last week he was really beat up.
Sort of healthy. I mean, he's got a finger problem on his throwing hand. He's got the calf problem to go along with it. And when you don't have a Vince Young available to you, like Mike Heimerdinger, the offensive coordinator of the Titans, told us, you know, I just can't. There aren't as many tricks that you can do. I mean, you really can't threaten with the playmaker running the football at the quarterback position. Kerry's not going to do it.
No, he's not going to do it.
1st and 10 from the 30. Collins behind Gage and incomplete. Well, you know, the feeling is that Jeff Fisher is always kind of leaned toward Kerry Collins. Vince Young, though, has a 30-17 record as quarterback here in Tennessee. Since 2006, Collins 14-14.
You know, it's not that he leans toward Kerry Collins. He leans toward a guy who's a little more disciplined and who works at it and can give the offense a little bit of rhythm. And that's what he leans toward. He wants Vince Young to do that. He just hasn't gotten it.
Collins, Johnson, dangerous in space, turns on the Jets, down the left sideline, and Tryon tackles him inside the 5. It's a gain of 25.
Kerry Collins does a really nice job of climbing the pocket on this one and knowing where everybody, I mean, he's looking down the field, and all of a sudden the last minute flips out. Now watch the turn on the Jets. Once CJ makes the turn and gets up the field, Tryon just barely catches the ankle.
Worse than that, he stole his dew towel out of the side. See, they wrapped his towel out.
5 yards from where he tackled him.
What a season Johnson had last year. Hasn't been the same this year. Johnson takes it inside the 3, pickup of 4. So Tennessee is a minute and 23 seconds with the clock moving, trying to snap that streak, counting the first quarter. 14 straight quarters without an offensive touchdown. Jeff
Fisher said when they score an offensive touchdown, he's going to throw the challenge flag just so he can savor the moment. You know, not to root for anybody, but I'd love to see him get in the end zone because I want to see if he's got the red flag.
And remember, they get the ball to start the 3rd. 2nd and goal. Chris Johnson gets a block from Hall, and he's in.
And the drought is over.
Oh, no challenge flag. Come on, Jeff. I still think he's savoring the moment.
I thought he might throw it just to ask the official to come over and then say, I'm not going to.
Hey, I want to show you guys something. I want you to watch Ahmad Hall, number 45, the fullback. Watch the nice block. Inside out, that's a J block. It doesn't get any better than that. J block inside and then cup him at the end. He gains leverage by getting the top shoulder. And the rest is Johnson for the score.
10th rushing touchdown for Johnson. And as Baronis takes the snap, we get a flag on the play.
Hey, we had a Charlie Brown last week. We're going to get another one this week.
We're working on one.
That was ugly. That's the second bad snap we've seen here tonight.
Dan Muir and David Stewart jawing.
Now remember, they changed the balls for kicking.
Correct.
It's a K ball. So when you look at the snap that goes over a punter's head, or you look at the ball coming back, it basically is something that's a problem for the center.
John Parry talking things over as Chris Johnson. Huge play on the catch and run in space to get the ball inside the 10-yard line down to the 5.
Now keep in mind.
Disconcerting signals. Indianapolis, number 99, trying to draw a false start, calling the count. That 15-yard penalty has been accepted on the ensuing kickoff.
Antonio Johnson, quite disconcerting.
Disconcerting signals.
Joseph, you and I both know that that's been going on for a long time, as long as this league's been going. And what you do, you get to the line of scrimmage and you just try to give false calls.
There's a lot of people communicating up there, but they got caught. That's the difference between what happened with us.
Baronis has hit all 26 of his extra points this season and make it 27 in a row. So finally, Tennessee on the board with 49 seconds. Kerry Collins puts together a 7-play, 55-yard drive. Well, you know, it's Kerry Collins. Talked to him earlier this year. We visited with him yesterday, and yeah, he's a pro's pro. He's been in the league for such a long time, 16th year out of Penn State. But Matt, that whole thing with Vince Young and putting the pads in the stands and storming out of the locker room, your football team has to be led, and that quarterback's got to be that leader.
He does, and you know, that's just another sign of immaturity. They're not coming in and talking to Jeff face to face. That's another sign of immaturity. And you know, I think Vince Young knows it. He just hasn't been able to get.
I don't know if he does.
I think he does.
I don't. I disagree with you.
Well, remember we spoke to Chris Johnson yesterday, and he said, you know, he knew he shouldn't have done that, but he kind of moved on. I think when you make a mistake, Joe, I think you know.
No, it's the second mistake. You know, he walked off the field because the fans booed him. I mean, you have to be mentally tough to play this position.
Agreed.
And you have to be mature. And I don't know if he's mature enough to lead a football team. He's a wonderful kid, okay? I'll say, but I want to tell you something. That's maturity. That's bouncing back from adversity. I mean, go to the coach if something happens to your thumb, and go to the coach. What is the problem with communicating with your head
I
coach?
completely agree with that. But listen, all I'm saying is I think he knew he was wrong. That doesn't excuse his immaturity, and that doesn't excuse his actions.
If you know you're wrong and it's important to you to play quarterback, you do something about it. You don't go off and pout, and that's what he's done.
I agree with that also. That's just more immaturity.
Face it, Vince Young's not a rookie either. This is his 5th year in the league. Moronis with the kickoff off the penalty, and he'll just airmail it through the back of the end zone with 49 seconds to go in the half.
I'll tell you why, to a degree, I don't agree with that. I would have rolled it along the ground, made the Colts pick it up, and run at least maybe 5, 6, 7 seconds off the clock, because now, with Peyton Manning, even with the lead at 21-7, he still has 49 seconds, he still has 3 timeouts, and he's still Peyton Manning.
Which means he's got to go about 50 yards to try for a field goal.
Manning 15 of 22, 179 yards and a pair of touchdowns to Pierre Garçon. James, the tailback, take the carry and pick up almost 8 on the play, call it 7. With 40 seconds to go in the half, and now Peyton gets his guys lined up. Manning takes the snap, flag comes in. False start against Indianapolis.
False start. Number 71. Offense.
Second penalty on Ryan Dean tonight.
The first call of running the football just gives you sort of an idea. How many yards can we pick up? I don't know if I would have done that with 49 seconds to go, run the football on the first play if you were going to try and drive it into a position where you might have a chance to kick a field goal. Talking to Adam Vinatieri before the game, the kicker for the Colts, he made them from 55 going in this direction. So, you got to figure he gets to the 30-yard line.
Adam has not attempted a field goal since November the 14th.
3 weeks.
The win against Cincinnati. Last 3 weeks, he hasn't even attempted one.
Nothing like a board kicker. This has been a sloppy game. I'm surprised. We've seen the mistakes on the Tennessee side, but Indianapolis is not. They've capitalized on some mistakes, but they have not looked that sharp.
And you've made a very good point, Matt, is Tennessee has driven the ball. There have been 2 key opportunities in drives that have stopped them more than the Colts have.
But I mean, it's a hustle play by Freeney that forced one of those turnovers.
But it's a drop by Washington also.
Please reset the game clock. 21 seconds, please.
Colts 6 penalties tonight. That's not characteristic of them. You get Ryan Dean, who's been playing forever on that right side in motion. I mean, it's just kind of been a sloppy night.
Now, Freeney made a huge play with the Colts leading 7-0 and Tennessee driving, forcing that fumble on Kenny Brett. Keep momentum Indianapolis' way. James on the carry, across the 25 to the 27-yard line, and that'll do it for the end of the first half. As James picks up 5, he got a touchdown to get things going for Peyton Manning and the Colts, and then Peyton fired a couple of touchdown passes to Pierre Garçon. At the end of the first half, the Colts lead the Titans 21-7. Stick around for the Sprint halftime show with Rich Eisen, Marshall Faulk, Deion Sanders, and Steve Mariucci. If football is art, then Peyton Manning is Picasso. Manning, touchdown Colts. Tennessee's postseason chances hang by a thread. That makes them dangerous. Any hope the Colts have rests in the hands of their artist. Manning, touchdown Colts. Back in Tennessee at the half, the Colts lead the Titans 21-7 on Thursday Night Football on NFL Network. Tonight's first half stats presented by Hyundai. 203 yards of offense for the Colts. Time of possession in their favor, and they've capitalized on mistakes. 2 turnovers by Tennessee have led to 14 points for Indianapolis. Bob Papa along with Joe Theismann and Matt Millen. Matt, we talked so much about Peyton Manning, but it's other guys making plays that have helped build this 21-7 lead.
Well, I mean, Picasso's done his job, but it's big players make big plays in big games. This is a big game for them. And so defensively, there are a couple guys, and how they do it is differently. Watch Robert Mathis. This is just great discipline of scheme and forcing an incompletion. And then when you have to get the ball on the ground, it's the tomahawk chop right there. Dwight Freeney, great job of pursuit, getting the ball on the ground, turnover, and that turns into points.
And Joe, for Tennessee, this has been one of the reasons why they've lost 5 in a row. They make mistakes that hurt them.
I'm not discouraged if I'm the Tennessee Titans. We've had the ball in good situations. Matt, you showed the fumble that caused it, the Nate Washington drop on another opportunity to get a first down and keep a drive going. Now you're going to get the ball at the beginning of the second half. I mean, Jeff Fisher had to feel pretty positive, say, look, we hurt ourselves. We stopped doing that. We can play with them.
Well, the question is, they've got to stop doing it in the second half. Chris Johnson has the only touchdown tonight for Tennessee. Mark Mariani to return the kickoff to start the second half from Pat McAfee. Mariani from the 3. Mariani across the 35 to the 38-yard line. So a return of 35. Mike Newton on the tackle. Terry Collins in the first half, 8 of 15 for 97 yards. As at the end of the first half, the Chris Johnson run ended a drought. First offensive touchdown in the last 15 quarters. We've chronicled it. But guys, you know, as you said, Joe and Matt, I mean, here's an opportunity to get right back in this game with a productive first drive.
They have to do it by not beating themselves. Don't make mistakes. Take care of the opportunities that present themselves. They must get points in this first drive.
Collins to throw with some time. Comeback route. Washington has it across midfield. Gain of 13.
He could have gone either side.
Well, that's the best thing about it, Matt. It's a terrific observation, because now all of a sudden, Mike Heimerdinger, the offensive coordinator, is sitting upstairs and he's looking at what's going on, and he's putting that one in the bank a little bit. So maybe later in this drive, probably in the next one or the one after it, you can look for that same route to be called.
Here's the guy they need to get the ball to. That's Kenny Britt. He's their big play guy.
Another big play guy is Chris Johnson. Johnson turns the corner. Taken down by Lacey at the 30-yard line.
This is called runner's patience, Joseph. You start one way, let the flow go, and then use that speed and come back the other way. Watch the flow. You'll see it. He sees it as well. And now cut all the way back. Ooh, nicely done inside of Francisco, and then use your speed.
Gain of 20. Johnson with 70 yards tonight. That's more than he had in the last 2 games combined.
And he's a right-handed ball carrier. If he learns to switch the ball over to the other hand, he can use the stiff arm to gain some more yards.
That's a great point. From the Colts 29. Short pass to Stevens. Craig Stevens, the tight end. Pickup of 6 on the play.
Stevens is their big blocking tight end, and they'll use him on those stick nods like that. You'll see it just down and get the defender on your inside. But it's a big, powerful guy, like 270 pounds. They like him in the blocking game.
How about Joe coaching up Chris Johnson?
Got to get it over.
He only had 2,000 yards.
That's a good point, though. Just
he only
think he
has
had 2,500.
But he only has 1,000 this year.
Oh, it's a little bit more than that, though.
That's true.
2nd and 4. Johnson, Gary Brackett says, you're not breaking it out this time. Lost the ball. Forward progress, though, is being ruled at the 26-yard line. Loss of 3.
I think that's a good call there by the officials. And you can see now they've already blown it. They've already blown the whistle. The ball's coming out, but he's already going backwards. They had already established his forward progress.
Once they deem the forward progress has been stopped, that stops the play. Javon Ringer to the right of Collins. He's got time, he's got a man to the 10-yard line. Kenny Britt, 1st and goal, Tennessee, gain of 18.
Whole key, Joe, great protection. They only rushed 3. They dropped 8, but because they get, look at this. Because they have this time, you can look down the field and see the holes. And there's the hole right there. Collins saw it. He can thank his offensive line.
And one thing we all know Kerry Collins can do, if you give him time, I'm not going to say he is Peyton Manning, but he can put the ball where he wants, like Peyton Manning.
Done it for 16 years.
God's blessed him with a gun. So running on 1st and 10 with Ringer. And he picks up a half-yard as we take a look at the quarterback comparison of Peyton Manning and Kerry Collins. Manning 15 of 22 in the first half, the 2 touchdowns. Collins 11 of 18, 134 yards, no touchdowns, no picks.
And in Kerry Collins' defense on those stats, had a couple of plays. One was a fumble, the other a drop pass that possibly would have been able to allow him to keep on building the numbers.
On a 2nd and goal. Collins, Stevens, touchdown Tennessee. Sheer will.
Stevens uses his power in the blocking game, and this time he uses his power to get into the end zone.
You come into this game with 8 catches. Now all of a sudden you've made 2 big receptions, and you power yourself into the end zone for the touchdown.
Just took Philip Wheeler and Antoine Bethea, and Kerry Collins, mission accomplished. Opening drive of the 3rd quarter.
That was a big series right there.
He's happy to have Kenny Britt back, and so is Jeff Fisher. Baronis for the extra point. Kern gets the snap down, and on the opening possession of quarter number 3, Tennessee on the power of Craig Stevens within a score.
Thursday Night Football is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. And by Pizza Hut. Your favorite place deserve your favorite pizza. Your favorites, your Pizza Hut.
Tennessee War Memorial, built in 1925. After the touchdown, Kenny Britt jawing with Gary Brackett, a couple New Jersey guys.
I don't care. This could cost you 15 if you're not careful.
Well, Kerry Collins and Jeff Fisher reminded him.
They're trying to remind him. Hey, you know, it's like we did the game a few weeks ago, Chicago and Miami, and Brandon Marshall just flips the ball to Jay Cutler, and it costs you 15. You're in a very, very tight situation. Everybody has to keep a cool head about them and play the game smart.
Justin Tryon back deep. Baronis with the kickoff. Tryon will take a knee. So Tennessee scores on their first offensive possession of the 3rd. It's Peyton Manning's turn. Colts by 7. Tonight's aerial coverage is being presented by Southwest Airlines. Temperatures in the 30s in Nashville. Game heating up though. First possession for the Colts here in the 3rd quarter. Tennessee scores first to start the 3rd. Will the Colts answer? Manning, Tammy picks up about 6 or 7 on the play. Well, huge game in the AFC South of these division rivals squaring off. Jacksonville in front at 7-5. If Indianapolis wins out, they would win the division on tiebreakers. They play Jacksonville next week in Indianapolis, also at Oakland and Tennessee to wrap up the season. Titans need a win and a little help. Donald Brown, a first down and more out to the 35-yard line. He picks up 8 on the play.
I like the way the Indianapolis Colts have been very consistent in including the running play in the series that Peyton lines up. One of the 3 or 4 plays in a series he's going to run, he's going to hand the ball off.
That was the longest run of the night for the Colts. Donald Brown again picks up 11.
2 plays.
That's the new longest run of the night.
2 plays in a row, Bob, and both times they're daring Indianapolis to run the football. They're giving you a 2 safety deep look. They have 7 guys up front, and that's it. And so they're saying, go ahead and run it. We don't want you to throw the football. We want you to run the football. We're going to stop you. Well, they took the challenge, and they haven't stopped them.
Manning to throw. Reggie Wayne on the catch. Inside the 10. Another big pass play. Manning to Wayne. This one 46 yards.
And another great job of the offensive line in giving Manning lots of time. The coverage is right there. Look at the coverage.
Oh, look at that throw. Come on.
That's Picasso.
Not only was the coverage there, even with a penalty with Finnegan's hand on his hip.
Oh my goodness, was that picture perfect? That was Rembrandt and Picasso working at the same time.
With a little Van Gogh thrown in.
And he kept his ear.
First and goal at the 8. Brown, no gain on the play. Douglas on the tackle, at the bottom of the pile. But all kind of set up, Matt and Joe, by the running game. Brown 10, Brown 11, suddenly play action, and boom, there you go.
Well, Peyton talked about it. Like we said, is we were one-dimensional. We've gotten to such a singular dimensioned offense. Now you run the ball. All of a sudden, you give Peyton Manning an opportunity to run play action, slow down the rush a little bit. You see the results.
You saw that stat about red zone efficiency. They're 3 for 3 tonight. Second and goal at the 10. Garcon wrestled down by McCourty at the 3, gain of 6.
You could see Peyton signaling over to Garcon like a little cradle, like a little rocking. And what he does is he just feels so comfortable with the size matchup against McCourty. McCourty's, 180 some pounds. Garcon's got him by 30. Now it's just power.
Third goal, Manning audibilizing. They clocked at 3. Manning, Wayne. Oh, and it was knocked away by his own man, Blair White.
Okay.
Well, let's take a guess here.
Who ran the wrong route, Matt?
Multiple choice. I'll go for the rookie.
Okay.
Do I win?
Yep, you do. You get to door number 4.
Thank you. X gets the square.
Reggie can't believe it. Blair White jumps. He's up top, and Reggie Wayne, and he's just looking at him like.
You see that look? That was like,
Oh, yeah.
Sorry about that, boys.
There's the explanation. What are you doing?
That was the best defense that they had all night. Came from their own guy.
Adam Vinatieri hooks one in from 21 yards, his first field goal attempt in 4 games. Blair, you're supposed to be over there. Come on, that was easy. Blair White of the Colts knocking a ball away from Reggie Wayne for an easy touchdown. Peyton Manning cannot believe it that the rookie was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Reggie Wayne saying, I've been here 10 years. I know where I'm going.
And I know where you're going to do that again.
Mariani on the return to the 31-yard line. Triplet on the tackle for the Colts. Tennessee now by 10 with the football. Kerry Collins. Thursday Night Football continues next week. The Chargers trying to keep their postseason hopes alive with Phillip Rivers taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Your weekend starts here, Thursday Night Football. Next Thursday, 8 Eastern, live on NFL Network. Bob Papa, Joe Theismann, Matt Millen in Nashville, Tennessee. The Indianapolis Colts lead the Tennessee Titans 24-14. If Indy wins out, they make it to the postseason. They haven't missed the playoffs since 1981. Chris Johnson on the catch. Lacey on the tackle. Pickup of 4.
On the last drive, they ran a similar play on 1st and 10, and Kerry went out here to a pass on the left side, and Chris Johnson was in pretty much the same spot he was. Mike Heimerdinger, their offensive coordinator, has come back to it. You get positive yards and you stay on schedule with your drive. I mean, the Colts really haven't stopped the Titans very much all night.
No, but the Titans have stopped the Titans.
2 turnovers by Tennessee. Draw for Johnson. No gain on the play. Well done by Cavell Connor, the rookie out of Clemson.
Well, we look at the chalkboard, Kerry Collins just does a real nice job of here an handoff, carry the fake out, but watch Chris Johnson, look at his head looking back the other way. Francisco comes up, misses the play. Now they give him wonderful protection, climb the pocket, fire the ball in, you wind up with a big completion. First 4 drives, 88 yards, last 2 points and yards.
Tennessee between 5 and 8 yards, 2 for 5 on third downs. Pass nearly intercepted by Bethea off the hands of the receiver, Kenny Britt.
Now, if Kenny Britt wants to be a primetime guy, you got to make that catch. Is it a tough catch? Yes, it's a tough catch. But great players got to make great plays. That would have been a great play.
Justin Tryon had his hands all over Britt too.
Yeah, well, he's got Jared Cook, the tight end, in the flat, wide open.
Remember, Nate Washington dropped a third down pass. The next play, the snap went over Kern's head. This time the snap is good. White, a fair catch at the 26-yard line. Peyton Manning has thrown a couple of touchdown passes. Big AFC South showdown. Colts in front.
Thursday Night Football is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Engineering without compromise. Performance without sacrifice.
Back in Nashville, Tennessee. Indianapolis back on offense by 10, 24-14. Manning gives for James. Picks up about 2 on the play as we check in with Alex Flanagan.
Manning has taken much of the blame, as you know, for a lot of the Colts' mistakes, and you'll wonder what he'll say in his press conference about what happened with Blair White on that last possession there. Came out and gave Blair White an earful on the sideline. Then White went and sat on a cooler by himself with his head down.
He needed to go cool down.
Well, Peyton did tell us, though, that Blair White, having to step in as a rookie free agent, has done everything we've asked of him. He's worked really hard, especially with Polly being nicked up. James fights for the 35-yard line. Jason Jones grabbed him after a gain of 6.
This is starting to look a little bit like Jacksonville last week when the Jaguars they got the lead, and then all of a sudden they started handing the ball off. You'd see the Titans make a tackle or contact, and then 3 or 4 yards later they get them on the ground.
The good news for Tennessee is Maurice Jones-Drew is not in the opposition tonight.
Like Chuck Cecil said, I'd rather have Maurice Jones-Drew or Arian Foster instead of Peyton Manning.
Third and 1. Manning to the air. Manning, first down to Jacob Tamme. Gain of 10 and a first down. Well, Peyton Manning has never not started a game in his time with the Indianapolis Colts. 205 consecutive starts. That's the most to begin a career since the late Gene Upshaw. 207 with the Oakland Raiders. Started from day 1. Counting the postseason, this is his 223rd consecutive game. Manning on a 1st and 10. Brody Eldridge, the rookie tight end, makes his 5th catch of the year and a gain of 8.
Now, one of the changes that the Tennessee Titans have done, and we've seen Cortland Finnegan get beat pretty handily by Reggie Wayne. Even though he's lined up on that side of the field, Reggie Wayne always stays 90% of the time on the left. He is not matched up on him anymore man-to-man.
Blair White to the wide receiver screen, and he's got enough for the first down to the 43-yard line, a gain of 3.
That's what I love about Peyton Manning. Okay, Blair White, you made a mistake. I'm going to give you an earful like Alex Flanagan told us on the sideline, and now you're in, and you're the guy who's open. The ball's coming right back to you. So he trusts his guys. He knows guys make mistakes, himself included, but he's not afraid to go right back to him.
James on the carry. No gain on the play. Will Witherspoon on the tackle. Well, we want to welcome those of you joining us from NFL.com live online experience. Welcome to Thursday Night Football. You know, Peyton really relishing the challenge. I mean, he'd rather not be 6-6, but laid the story of the 2000 season. They were 7-6. They needed to win the last 3, and they needed some help, and they did it. He said, we can do that again. We don't need help this time. It's just us. Manning over the middle to Tammy, picks up 7.
You know who Jacob Tammy reminds me of? Brent Jones.
Yeah, a little bit.
Has the same kind of hands, catches everything around him. He's a reliable guy. He has great trust. The quarterback has great trust in him. He runs good routes, intermediate. He's one of those guys who's a chain mover.
Former San Francisco 49er. One of those great teams in the 80s. Colts 3 of 4 on third down attempts between 2 and 4 yards.
Will Witherspoon out the top.
Manning takes a shot to Garcon, and he missed him.
That's big for Tennessee. They had to get off on that third down.
Nope. Peyton's keeping the offense on the field right now.
It's not as big as I thought.
Well, it was a big third down, but you weren't anticipating him being out there for the fourth down.
Well, considering that whatever breeze there is, they're going into it. Vinatieri's longest field goal this year is 48 yards. From here, this would be a 54-yarder. Well, he'd love to have Dallas Clark in this spot, out for the year on injured reserve. 4th and 4 with the Colts up by 10. They give it to James. He's got the first down to the 25-yard line. Gain of 12.
Manning comes to the line of scrimmage, sees that he has the 2 deep look. See the safety sitting back there. That means the run numbers fall to the offense's favor. And then all you have to do is get all of your offensive linemen on somebody.
And how about left tackle Jeff Linkenbach, who had played guard a couple of weeks ago. He's a rookie, free agent out of Cincinnati, in for Charlie Johnson, who's out with a shoulder injury. What a block he made. They feed James again. James to the 21-yard line. You remember Linkenbach in that game against San Diego trying to play right guard. Got totally manhandled a couple of weeks ago. It's a natural tackle. Has to fill in for Johnson here in the second half. He makes a huge block on 4th down.
Jason Babin, he's coming up the field trying to make a play on Peyton Manning. You're thinking it's 4th and that big a distance. Is Peyton actually? Peyton's going to throw it. That's what you would think.
Here's that same cover 2 look. The 2 deep safety. Numbers are in the favor of the offense.
Donald Brown backs his way for a couple.
Matt,
Gain
you made
of 3.
you mentioned in the first half the Tennessee Titans. When we talked to Chuck Cecil, we're going to line up. We're going to play with 7. We're going to induce you to want to run the football. Unfortunately, they are.
Yeah, that's the bad part.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that takes us to the end of the third quarter. Peyton Manning has thrown a couple of touchdown passes, converting on a huge 4th down. Colts in a pivotal game by 10. Back in Nashville, we start the 4th quarter with the Colts in front of Tennessee, 24-14. Indianapolis, rare spot this late in the season. 6-6, a game off the lead in the AFC South. If they win out, they're in. First half, 15 rushes, 31 yards. Second half, got the running game going, converted on a huge 4th down with James, and now face a 3rd and 3 deep in Titans territory. Tennessee has dropped 5 in a row after getting off to a 5-2 start, trying to keep their slight playoff hopes alive. James to the right of Manning. Manning, Garcon, first down.
That's all Pierre Garcon right there. Joe, you made a great observation earlier just with the size of Garcon. But I got to tell you, if you say Pierre Garcon, you don't think big, you think little. He sounds like a little guy, but he's a big guy.
6 foot, 210 pounds.
I think of a chef. You should think of, because that's all you do is eat.
Yeah, this kid, he makes play after play, and he's healthy now.
And they're looking possibly getting Austin Collie back. pretty soon too, which will complete their core.
James on the carry. Picks his way for about a yard.
Bobby, the first half, the Colts averaged 2.1 yards a carry. The third quarter, it's 5.0. But they've committed themselves to running the football, especially when you get down in the red zone, and they've been incredibly successful with scores in the red zone.
Donald Brown, 13 carries, 34 yards. James, 12 carries, 43 yards, and a touchdown. And it's created some of those play-action passes for Wayne downfield. 2nd and 9, James again. Nice move by James to the 10-yard line. McCourty on the tackle, gain of 2.
Well, Chuck Cecil has stayed true to what he told us at the start of the game. He'd rather have them run the football. And so again, he's keeping both safeties back. He's just playing them with 7 up front. And Peyton Manning is being extremely patient and running the football.
11 interceptions the previous 3 games. 2 touchdowns, no picks tonight, and none of his passes have even been in jeopardy. The best defended ball was probably Blair White, his teammate. 3rd and 7 from the 10. Manning overshot Eldridge.
Had a chance. They still kept that same shell back there. He tried to sneak it in.
As soon as he threw it, he was mad at himself. That one got away.
This is huge for Tennessee because this keeps them to within a 2-possession game.
He's got him right there. Right there, he wants to make the throw. And again, you've got a rookie. He hasn't run the route. He would have liked to have held it up the line a little bit more, throw it back shoulder, make a play.
So he had what he wanted. Witherspoon bit on that play action fake.
Learning process.
2-time Pro Bowler for the Terry for 28 yards, and he chips it through. Well, Peyton Manning's never happy with field goals, but they'll tack on 3 more. Colts in front here in the 4th.
Thursday Night Football is brought to you by Pizza Hut. Your favorite place deserve your favorite pizza. Your favorites, your Pizza Hut. And by Verizon, introducing the Droid Pro, the newest member of the Droid Armada.
Back in Nashville, Chuck Cecil in the red cap, the defensive coordinator, talking things over with head coach Jeff Fisher. Had to slow down the Indianapolis Colts, who have put 27 points on the board. They've used the running game effectively, especially in the second half. But it is still only a 2-score game by virtue of Tennessee holding Indianapolis to a field goal. McAfee with the kickoff. Mariani on the return. Mariani tripped up at the 34-yard line. Kerry Collins got to get some points in a hurry. Down 27-14. Kerry Collins will turn 38 on December the 30th. His 16-year career, 39,425 yards passing. That's 12th most in NFL history. Of the 11 guys in front of him, 9 of them are either current or future surefire Hall of Famers. He's put up some incredible numbers, a 2-time Pro Bowler in his 16th year out of Penn State. Chris Johnson, a yard, and that's it. Connor got the first hit on him. You know, it's interesting with Kerry because we've talked about some of Vince Young's problems. Kerry started with Carolina, had some early success, went to New Orleans, had some substance abuse issues, got straightened out with his time with the New York Giants, took his team to the Super Bowl in 2000, losing to the Ravens. But we've really seen him evolve. He's a country music songwriter now. His first song titled Mama's Fried Chicken, and he's really evolved as not only a player but as a person.
He's got one out there now. I hope I go out this way. I think he wants to go out with a win is what he wants to do.
Jacob
Lacey's down.
The corner. So whoever you bring in, let's see if the old Joe Paterno disciple will go right at him.
Well, David Pender was added to the roster. I mean, they have gone through defensive backs like you would not believe. I mean, just person after person's down.
Remember, Kelvin Hayden's not playing tonight. Gerard Powers placed on IR. Bob Sanders placed on injured reserve. Jim Caldwell out to take a look at Jacob Lacey, second-year pro out of Oklahoma State.
Jim Caldwell has the perfect temperament to coach this football team.
Agreed.
I mean, just really had the first chance to sit with him last night for any length of time, and you're so impressed with his calm. I mean, you know, you'd call him a Tony Dungy disciple. He really keeps the lid on his football team. You don't see guys jawing and doing things that would hurt their ball club.
2nd and 9 from the 35. Collins with time. The fullback Hall sells out and gets the first down. Jumped right over Cavell Connor.
That's a tough sucker right there. Ahmad Hall, that is, you know, he spent some time in the military, and he doesn't take anything from anybody, including a tackle. He just jumps right over the top of him.
Yeah, that Peyton Hillis has started a trend in the league. Everybody that's big, if you're over 240, you get to jump over people now.
And Jacob Lacey is back in the ballgame, bottom of your screen for Indianapolis. Chris Johnson on 1st and 10. Runs right around Lacey and keeps going. Chris Johnson finally dragged down at the 18-yard line by Cornelius Brown. 37-yard run.
What a great block by Kenny Britt. Britt got the block that cleared the whole thing. Watch Kenny Britt right down here. Get your safety. Bang, right there. Once he gets the safety, now you're one-on-one with the corner, and then there's a jock strap laying right down there. That would be Lacey's. And then he runs away from everybody else.
Johnson with 106 yards rushing in the ball game on 18 carries. He'll take it again. And he gets hammered from behind by Brackett. Loss of about a half yard. But remember, Tennessee at 5 and 7. They've got to win all of their games, and they need some help in this AFC South. Indianapolis, if they can win their last 4, they're going to get in. As we turn into December here, the enormity of this game for these two teams.
Yeah, it's a playoff game. I mean, and the Colts are ranked 29th against the run.
Kenny Britt getting worked on the sideline. Chris Johnson getting a breather.
Randy Moss down at the bottom of your screen.
2nd and 11. Collins to Stevens to the 12-yard line. Brackett on the tackle, gain of 7.
I always like when a quarterback starts to throw, we gotta tighten down here when they start to use their tight ends. Because tight ends start to eat up safeties, and that opens things up on the outside.
And that is the center, Eugene Amano, who is down and hurt. 7th-year pro out of Southeast Missouri State. So the center is down. Fernando Velasco warming up. Chris Johnson's had a big game for Tennessee with 105 yards rushing on the night, and also getting involved in the passing game. This was a big 25-yard catch and run, which set up a score. Chris Johnson also with a 37-yard run, taking out Jacob Lacey. And a huge possession for Tennessee. He has one of their 2 touchdowns tonight. He's not on the field right now on this 3rd and 4 with 9:27 to go. Give it to Ringer. He's got the first down inside the 5.
That's as gutsy a call as Peyton Manning made on that 4th down. Keep in mind you got a new center in there. And so they come with a double A-gap blitz. That's a blitzer on either side. Gonna watch them come right up inside on the center. They're gonna force the center to have to make a choice. They block it beautifully. Velasco, 61, just in the game, has a big block on Brackett, and Ringer gets the first down.
Velasco was signed as a free agent in 2008, played in just 1 game last year. 1st and goal, Chris Johnson. Aaron Francisco tripped him up for no gain on the play.
You know,
obviously they've got to score a touchdown here with time dripping to 8:30.
It's huge. I mean, this is, you said it earlier, it's a 2-score game. This has to be one of the scores, and it's got to be 6 points.
That doesn't have to be. It really does, because I mean they're gonna need 2 scores.
Yeah.
Well,
You want to give Peyton
Yeah,
Manning?
that's true.
game.
That does. You're
Yeah,
right.
you gotta have 2 scores.
Got to have 2 scores. You're right.
Got to have 2 scores. Field goals don't beat Peyton Manning. 2nd and goal. Collins got another touchdown. Bo Scaife.
There's only 11 guys ahead of him in National Football League history. Kerry Collins throws this ball exactly where it has to go.
Oh, good protection again. The Colts decide to drop into the end zone. I don't understand, to be honest. What are the linebackers doing in the end zone? And then you give Bo Scaife a chance. Remember, last week against Jacksonville, they were driving, had an opportunity. He put one on the ground, just flat dropped it. Big play here for him.
And nicely done by Kerry Collins. And watch, Scaife just goes airborne.
Extra point by Baronis is good. Bo Scaife with the touchdown catch. Kerry Collins throws his 2nd of the game. Now he needs his defense to stop Peyton Manning. Back in Nashville, Sound Effects takes you inside the game for all the sights and sounds you miss on Sunday. Tuesday, don't miss a special episode featuring that man, Peyton Manning. Sound Effects, Tuesday and Wednesday, 10:30 Eastern on NFL Network.
If anybody hasn't seen that, those shows are
cool.
awesome.
It really is.
Wonder what it sounded like when Kenny Britt bear hugged Bo Scaife after Scaife made the touchdown. Guys said, we need one more. We're down by 6 right now. Kerry Collins' 199th career touchdown pass ties him with Phil Simms for 31st
Phil,
on the all-time list.
recovering from back surgery.
And doing well. We saw his son Christopher, who's a member of the Titans. Tryon engulfed at the 21-yard line. Here comes Peyton Manning. Got to protect a 6-point lead. Peyton Manning and the Colts lead is 6 with 7:55 to go. He'll throw on 1st down to Blair White, and he picks up 5 on the play. Michael Griffin on the tackle.
Stay on schedule. That's what Peyton's thinking right now. Let's eat up some clock. Stay on schedule. Be very surprised if he snaps this with too much time left on the play clock.
Chuck Cecil defensively now. Again, he's giving him the 2 deep, that soft zone. He's going to see how patient he can be. Oh, he's dropping him down.
Donald Brown shoulders his way near the 30-yard line and picks up 4.
So they drop the safety down to get the 8th man up, and Peyton still runs at it and sets up this 3rd and short.
3rd and 1. The Colts are 2 for 2 on 3rd and 1s tonight.
Chuck Cecil has to be careful if he wants to drop down to safety again, Matt, because if Peyton gets one-on-one with Corton Finnegan on Reggie Wayne, he may take the shot.
And they're at the
Right
bottom
down
of the
here.
screen. Brown hit by Hope. It's going to be close.
He doesn't have it.
No.
Fantastic play by Chris Hope. Great read. Watch him drop down. You see him 24. He sees it. You have to protect the edge. And you have to make the tackle. There's one thing about dropping down, Joe. There's another thing about wrapping up and getting him down.
And Tim Shaw also helped clean up that tackle. Mariani back deep. Good high punt by McAfee. Mariani a fair catch at the 25-yard line, a 45-yard punt. So Manning and the Colts go 3 and out. Chris Hope takes away the cutback lane. Now can Dwight Freeney and the Colts defense stop Tennessee?
I mean, you look at these last 3 games of the Indianapolis Colts, they gave up 31 to New England, gave up 36 to San Diego, and 38 to Dallas. I know some of them were responsible for Peyton's interceptions, but I mean, they don't lose very often.
The last loss after leading by 21 or more. You got to go back to 2000. Chris Johnson, a couple yards after contact. Fili Muwala on the tackle. Well, Kerry Collins has picked it up in the second half, 8 of 9, 68 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chris Johnson's gotten the running game going. Good balance by Tennessee. 24 passes, 24 rushes in this game.
Good, that's what they wanted to get. Mike Heimerdinger, the offensive coordinator, said we need balance. We have to run the football, and we want to be able to control the clock. Now, they haven't been able to do the latter, but right now, they're right where they want to be.
Collins, Johnson, Lacey on the tackle. It's a gain of 3.
Joe, I really like the patience right now of Kerry Collins.
I do, and remember when we sat with Mike Heimerdinger on Tuesday, he talked about the fact that get the ball out of your hands quickly for Kerry Collins, and don't be afraid to dump it off to the backs. You know how good the pass rush is of the Colts. Just make them tackle guys in the open field.
And he wanted to get to 3rd and 5 or less. This is a critical 3rd and 5. Two shelled by Indianapolis.
They run it with Johnson. Did not get there. Colt defense rises up. Foster made the first hit along with Tawan Hagler.
And Larry Coyer, the defensive coordinator for Indianapolis, he did the same thing Chuck Cecil did. He dared them. He kept both safeties back. He showed them numbers, and he thought his guys would be able to handle it, and they did.
Antoine Bethea coming up, making the hit. Just like we saw Chris Hope do for Tennessee Titans.
Do you agree with the punt here, or would you go for it?
No, I'd punt it.
But you're punting it to Peyton Manning, though.
Yeah, but you stopped him the last time.
Ooh, that's playing with fire.
I don't want to. I'm not going to give him the ball at the 30-yard line.
Kern, punt to the near side. Blair White, fair catch at the 25. With NFL Game Rewind, relive every game of the 2010 season through Week 13 online and in HD. Sign up today for mid-season special offers at NFL.com/Game Rewind or search Game Rewind on NFL.com. Well, Jeff Fisher, the head coach of the Titans, has come under a lot of fire from the fan base on local sports talk radio. He's been here 17 years. The fans here at LP Field didn't agree with that punt.
No, they didn't. They wanted to go for it, but they'd be the same ones who would boo them. They don't get it.
If they were short and Peyton Manning, put the score out of reach, everybody go, why did you do it?
We'll find out over the next 4:07. James hit by Hope. No gain.
See what they're doing right now, Joe. They're coming out. They're showing that two-safety look, two-deep safety. And now Hope, at the last second, he's dropping down and switching the numbers into their favor. And by numbers, I mean the extra guy. That's the 8th man in the box who's unblocked.
This is where Pierre Garçon and Reggie Wayne have an advantage over anybody that covers them with Peyton at the quarterback.
Here he comes down again.
Manning, Garçon, fighting, and he's got the first down! Garçon off to the races! And he's finally dragged down from behind by McCourty.
Joe, that was a timely comment by you because Hope dropped down and they, boom, went right to Garçon. This is the advantage you're looking for.
They got away with it in the last series. The ball is placed in the same spot that Garçon wound up with the touchdown before. Strong hands. McCourty can't get him.
And Chris Hope, I know he made a couple of big tackles, but he's got to do more than shoulder the guy. He's got to wrap him.
You're right.
43-yard pickup because he was short of the sticks. James moves the pile to the 30-yard line. The problem here now is Kerry Collins hoping to get another chance. If Indianapolis can get a field goal here, it makes it a 9-point game and a two-possession game. And now a timeout called by Tennessee, their first charge timeout.
Chuck Cecil is rolling the dice. It worked for him. All you had to do was wrap him. Chris Hope had been playing a heck of a football game, and that time he has an opportunity to stop him short, force a third down, doesn't wrap, and Garçon, the big Garçon.
Yeah, and McCourty did enough to slow him down, and Hope's got to help finish him off. Well, Reggie Wayne has made a couple big plays like this 50-yard catch early in the ball game. Also had a 46-yarder on Cortland Finnegan. And Pierre Garçon has made a couple of huge plays with 2 touchdown catches. And the 2 players over 200 yards receiving, and of course the big one on that second down play. 2nd and 8 at the 30 of Tennessee. James again runs out of a hope tackle, but then gets shoved out of bounds, and that stops the clock, and Tennessee does not have to use one of their 2 remaining timeouts.
Very un-Marshall Faulk-like. Marshall Faulk, one of the most heady players I've ever seen play, would have gotten down to not stop the clock. This time, James runs out of bounds, stops the clock.
That's why he has an R behind his name.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Ruque.
Yeah.
Rookie free agent out of Miami.
Pretty good player.
Did that maybe push them out of field goal range for Vinatieri with that loss of a couple? James again, cut down at the 29 by Michael Griffin. Now Tennessee will use their second timeout with 3 minutes to go.
That's a 46-yard field goal if they try it, and they will.
I had the opportunity to talk to Adam Vinatieri down on the field before the game. And what I did was I asked him, I said, with the temperature the way it is, how far can you make it? He said, kicking in this direction, he made 50-yarders. Felt comfortable with 50 yards in this direction. Going the other way, a little bit shorter.
This will be a 47-yarder. Huge game. Indianapolis at 6-6. They had the 10-point lead here late. Tennessee has fought back. They need to win out, and they need help. But you wonder about the missed tackle and how much that could hurt them. If Vinatieri makes this field goal, it makes it a 2-possession game.
On the other hand, if he misses, good field position for Tennessee.
McAfee to hold. Snow the long snapper. Kick by Vinatieri is squared up, and it is good. Mr. Clutch does it again. Adam Vinatieri makes it a 9-point game with 2:55 to go.
That's as clutch a kicker that has ever been in the National Football League.
Oh, boy. I asked him where he kept his Super Bowl rings. He says he keeps them in a safe. He said, if I do something in Indianapolis, I take out the Indianapolis ring. If I happen to wander in another state, maybe I'll take the New England ring. And he said, sometimes I'll just bring one of each.
Nice.
Adam Vinatieri, huge kick, and Peyton Manning with that throw to Pierre Garçon, and it was short of the sticks, but it was Garçon's effort to make it a big play.
Bob, I'll say it once again. Tennessee hurt themselves. Fumble, dropped pass, and now missed tackles. And that has sort of been the story of the year for Jeff Fisher and his football team. Just mistakes and nobody making the play that gets them over the hump.
Garçon turned a 2nd and 10 from his own 25 and a 7-yard catch into 43 yards, which set up the field goal.
Mariani needs a big return, give them a short field.
He's returned 1 this season for a touchdown. Off the kickoff. He'll take it to the 23-yard line. We take a look at the playoff picture in the AFC. New England in front in the East. Pittsburgh with a 1-game lead over Baltimore. Kansas City with a huge game this weekend against San Diego. Jacksonville leads this South division at 7-5. The only way you're going to get a playoff team out of the South, you've got to win the division. If Indy, to the far right of your screen, wins out, they would win a tiebreaker. They still have a game left with Jacksonville, which occurs next week in Indianapolis.
What a great job Jack Del Rio has done with that Jacksonville
Absolutely.
team.
They were the youngest team in football, I believe, a year ago, and now they're doing all the things right.
Titans down 9. Chris Johnson slips on the turf at the 30-yard line. Gain of 8.
He went to the ground at 2:44. With that 10 seconds run off. Kerry's moving at a good pace right now.
Pass deflected, caught by Johnson. And Johnson's going to get out of bounds to stop the clock right near the first down marker.
And that is a Marshall Faulk-like play right there.
That's because he doesn't have what?
R behind his name, but he also has a little bit of speed with this. And this has a little bit of Deion Sanders speed right here.
And Deion would have run out of bounds too. Just kidding. Just kidding.
They're coming up with the post-game show. Prime time. And Marshall, and Rich, and Mooch.
Of the great players who've played our game.
First down for Tennessee. Collins again. Faux skate. Good open field tackle made by Tawan Hagler after a gain of 6.
I like the patience. They're moving the chains.
Don't you have to start taking a shot
at
some
pretty
point?
soon he's good. Like right here, now's the time to do it because the clock's going to stop for 2 minutes.
They're down 9. Collins applies that one to the Indianapolis bench, which takes us to the 2-minute warning. In a desperation game in the AFC South, Peyton Manning throwing a couple of touchdown passes. Titans trying to pull off a miracle.
Thursday Night Football is brought to you by GMC. Enter the Never Say Never sweepstakes for a chance to win a GMC Sierra Denali at gmc.com/NFL. And by K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K.
And K Jewelers sponsors our post-game program that we're getting ready for. Full highlights, the star of the game, and every last playoff picture updated for you. And Joe, I throw it back to you. We're hearing every word you say down here, so choose your words wisely.
I know. You already looked at Deion. I know, Rich. I know.
3rd and 4 for the Titans, down 9. Chris Johnson has the first down. Takes it out to the 48-yard line. Gain of 9.
With one timeout left, they're going to have to use the sidelines in some way, shape, or form. If a guy catches it, he's going to have to get out of bounds.
Johnson again. Johnson in space inside the 40 to the 38, gain of 14.
If you're sitting at home and you're wondering why they keep dumping it off, it's because they're playing a coverage. They're taking everything deep away. It's 3 deep and 4 under, and they're forcing you to have to be patient underneath. And so he is.
Johnson again. Hagler holding on by a shoe.
Matt, I go back to the 4th down and 1. I still don't disagree. They could have tackled Garcon. You had yourself in a position to get the ball away, get it back with some time. I mean, now you're working real hard.
Out of bounds.
Jared Cook does get out of bounds with 55 seconds remaining.
Ideally, you'd like to throw something to the end zone here. They're not going to allow you. You want to be able to hit something outside on the sidelines right here. So defensively, you want to defend that sideline.
And it kind of speaks to where Randy Moss's game is. Randy Moss in his prime, you throw it up if it was triple coverage in the end zone and he'd make a play, and he's on the sideline. 1st and 10 for Collins. Collins takes a shot. Britt can't reel it in at the 1. Flag in late.
It's going to be an illegal touching, I believe. Kenny Britt might have gone out of bounds and then been the first one to touch the ball.
See, his hat is off. That means he threw it to mark where he went.
It's field judge Scott Edwards with the hat off on this cold night in Tennessee.
Illegal touching of the pass. Number 18 went out of bounds, reestablished with 2 feet inbounds, and was the first player to touch the pass. 5-yard penalty, replay, first down.
Good job by the official. There's a lot of this game that Kenny Britt has to learn.
But boy, when he does, he is going to be something to handle.
I'm with you.
I mean, they have an absolute gem in Kenny Britt here.
He's not polished yet, but he'll get there. Free play.
Colts jump. Collins intercepted by Jacob Lacey. But remember, there's a flag, and the Colts appear to have jumped.
This was smart by Kerry Collins.
Offside. Defense. Number 92, 5-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
Smart by Kerry Collins because he knew he had the free play. So you take your chance right there. which is exactly what he does. He'll try to force it there. And that's okay, because if it gets picked, big deal, he knows it's coming back.
And throw it far enough down so that you give yourself shots at the end zone.
Exactly.
42 seconds remaining. Tennessee down by 9. Javon Ringer had a double clutch on it. Picks up 8. Now a timeout called by Tennessee, their final timeout.
So they got to get into the end. Okay, they got to get into the end zone. You have 3 downs to do it.
But you really don't want to use 3 downs, because if you use 3 downs, the time is going to be against you.
So what you can do is kick a field goal here and then try an onside kick. That would still be your two.
But it's second down.
Game. It's okay. The clock. The downs don't matter.
But they took the kicker off the field. Baronis went running out, and then they said, well, wait a second.
I'm not so sure that's not the right thing to do. At 32 seconds, kick your field goal, give yourself, and you're going to have to take an onside kick regardless. You want to give yourself as much time as possible.
The clock is what's important.
Exactly.
Time is the single most valuable thing here for the Titans. Now, if they don't make it here, you're pretty much committed to kick the field goal.
Which means you got to take a shot to the end zone right here.
Collins goes sideline scape, gets the first down with 27 seconds to go.
All right, so what they're saying now is we're going to take the 6 now, obviously.
You got to, because of the time now, even if you recover the onside kick, you need time to get it to the end zone. But now with no timeouts, the throws have to be in the end zone.
They have to be, because you can't afford a down where the receiver is tackled. Now, you can get to the sidelines, but again, you want to save time. Only 5 seconds went off on that play.
That's why I wasn't so sure you shouldn't have kicked it on that last down.
Collins does not get it to the end zone.
That's bad by Collins and bad by the receiver. You can't run that route. You have to be in the end zone.
He's gonna clock it. That's what he's gonna do.
Well, he's gonna clock it with 10 seconds left.
That's the game.
It's pretty much the game right there.
Yeah. I go back to that second down. You had 32 seconds left. Kick the field goal.
Right, and
give yourself a chance with the onside kick.
With if you do recover it with Kerry Collins' arm, you take some shots into the end zone.
Jeff Fisher and Tennessee 10 seconds away from their 6th consecutive loss. After starting out 5-2 and one of the strongest teams in the league. Collins, Nate Washington, incomplete. Great job by Justin Tryon to contest that ball.
Justin Tryon had to play a lot of football for the Washington Redskins and really has learned how to play the corner position. They used him as the nickel inside, got a lot of speed, has a lot of quickness and versatility, and he's doing a real nice job stepping up at the corner position today.
That was a great job, because that could have been 6, but he did not keep the ball all the way through the motion.
Got to complete the play.
Exactly.
Complete the act of the catch all the way through to the ground. Collins to the end zone, and he's got the touchdown to Bo Scaife, but time has expired. No time left on the clock. They have to kick the extra point because the touchdown comes in regulation. 63rd career 300-yard passing game, which ties an NFL record, shared now with Hall of Famer Dan Marino for Peyton Manning on a night in which he was 25 of 35 for 319 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 4,000 yards for the 11th time in his career. And Mr. Cool, Adam Vinatieri, with the huge field goal. Pierre Garçon turned a 7-yard play into a 43-yard catch and run, which set up the field goal to make it a 9-point game.
Tennessee's going to watch this film, and they're going to be disgusted, because there were mistakes that they made that contributed to the loss. In fact, they beat themselves.
Well, the Tennessee Titans dropped their 6th in a row. The Colts and Peyton Manning snapped their 3-game losing streak. Remember, they went out, they're in, and they won tonight. Stay tuned with the NFL Network. We'll take you down to the field for the Kay Jewelers postgame show. We'll have stars of the game live as well as highlights and analysis on tonight's game. From Nashville, Tennessee, the final score. The Indianapolis Colts get their 7th win of the season. They beat Tennessee 30-28.